To talk about Premier League football, and straight after us, don't forget live boxing on Saturday Fight Night Live here on BT Sport. If you want to join in the conversation on the show, hashtag PL Tonight, you can get in touch with all of us on Twitter, and let's welcome Glenn Hoddle, who's hopped over from the commentary box. Frustrated?
Yeah, it was frustrating. Yeah, for Spurs it was, yeah. But you've got to give Swansea credit. They defended stoutly and they were very well organised.
They were indeed. Meanwhile, you can't believe that we're in the same studio. Change the lights and look what happens.
That's what happens if you get good staff.
Exactly, and we've certainly got that. And decent pundits as well. Let's look at the headlines then from the day. And it was a really difficult day indeed for Roy Hodgson. No joy for Roy indeed. Meanwhile, very different as far as Manchester City are concerned, because they were fantastic today. It was very 60 football. And finally, Newcastle. They are flying along at the moment. They are over the tomb. Another win for them, so congratulations to them. Let's start, though, by talking about Crystal Palace, I'm afraid. And this is Alex Howell's day as a Palace fan.
So it is our third home game, second manager of the season. Hopefully Roy gets us playing and we get our first goal, our first win and first points on the board. Come on, boys. So it's half time, it's 1-0 Southampton. You can see they're trying, but we still haven't scored. So that's the end of that home game. We are struggling. 5 games, no points, no goals. It's not looking great. It wasn't even that much better today under Roy. I know he's only had 3 days to go, but we've got a tough 3 games coming up, and then after that we could find ourselves cut adrift.
Tough, United, then City, then Chelsea. Tough doesn't even begin to explain it. Here are the thoughts of Roy Hodgson after the game.
I'm not suggesting that work we'll do on the training field will suddenly produce 3 or 4 Messis and Ronaldos in the next 2 or 3 months. We have got the squad of players that we have. They've got their strengths and weaknesses. We need to be aware of those strengths and weaknesses. We need in training to try and improve the strengths and cover up maybe sometimes the weaknesses. It's 5 defeats, it's 0 points, it's a really tough programme ahead if you look at the quality of the opponents. So it's painful today, and I fear it's going to be painful in some of the moments going forward.
Well, it could be those next 3 games, which we've already spoken about, are so difficult for them. This is from Nick Harris on Twitter. If you don't follow Nick, you really should, at Sporting Intel. Loads of really interesting stuff. But look at this. To put this in context for Palace, since 1888, there have been 2,465 teams starting top-flight English seasons. Palace are the first ever to lose their first 5 and to score none. And there's so much of it on social media. We had a message from Ben Giesta who said, we had a choice of De Boer, Marco Silva or Mauricio Pellegrino. We took 2 months to pick, and who do we have in September? Roy Hodgson, my club, he says. And the whole point about that and everything else that we're seeing here is the short-termism in football. How can you think short-term and expect to improve in the long term?
No, you can't. And what I would say, it's shouting out that they've panicked to me. The De Boer situation was wrong, on all accounts. I felt that 4 games is just absolutely ridiculous. There's obviously a fallout somewhere along the line, but they've panicked and they've just thought, right, what is out there, who's available, and Roy Hodgson is the one that they've stumbled across. Now, the run of games he's got is an absolute joke. It's going to take a while, it is, and they've just got to be patient now and stick with it. They are where they are, and and they've just got to get behind Roy.
You make a decision to bring Ronald De Boer in to play football, total football. Sam Allardyce got the ball forward quick, got the players. It took him 8 games, by the way. It took Sam 8 games to get him on that wavelength. De Boer's had 4 games to get him playing football, which is nowhere near long enough. Roy Hodgson is that good a coach, he can play anyway. He'll look at the group now and have to make a decision. Are we getting it forward quick, or are we going to play total football? And I'm sure he'll get that. I mean, he's got a tough run of games to try it out in, but they've panicked.
You need time. Frank de Boer needed time. I can relate to it. When I first went to Chelsea, I went from Swindon to Chelsea. I tried to change into a back 3. I wanted to play a back 3, so it was completely different to what they were used to there. Christmas, we were second from bottom. Christmas. I wouldn't have had that time, would I, in this era?
And what happened?
And we went to the Cup final that year, but the FA Cup final, we ended up 10th in the league, and there was a foundation for them to go on the next year. But it was time. You needed some time on that training ground and to get your principles and your ideas across. Total panic at Palace. But you can understand them in a way, going for Roy, because Roy will do what he did at West Brom and probably at Fulham and make it very tight and bank them up and drop the striker in and be very difficult to beat, a little bit like we saw Swansea had to do today. I don't think Paul wants to play that every week and week in, but for a few weeks he's going to have to play that way. And that's survival down there at the bottom. You have to do that.
I feel sorry for Roy in some ways because he's going to be lumbered with all the criticism that comes their way, because the chances of them getting something from any of those next 3 games is going to be super tough. They could very easily be 8 games in, not a single point on the board. And of course, what will everyone be saying? Well, you sacked Frank de Boer after 4 games without a win. Are you going to now do the same with Roy Hodgson? But Roy's in a position where you've had a Sam Allardyce team. You've then tried in 2 months to turn that into a total football Frank de Boer team. And now you've decided that's not going to work. So you give the job to Roy Hodgson. It's an almost impossible situation, isn't it, to go in and be successful?
Is there a football manager after 4 games?
I know.
Well, how can you? How can you?
You deserve what you get.
Look what's happened to Harry today. Harry Redknapp.
He's gone,
There's no
yeah.
patience left in football.
14 new players came into Birmingham over the summer, and they've given him this amount of time to get them playing football.
Doesn't make sense.
Look, these 3 games that are coming up, they are nightmare types of games, but they can be the catalyst for something special. It can ignite something if you can galvanise the side, get them together. And as we've seen today, it's a lot easier to be destructive in football than it is to be creative. So if he can get those players and just say, look, do not lose. In one of those games, it might ignite something that leads on to, them having a half-decent season due to this, given the dreadful start that they've had.
I'd like to get something from each of you. What's the key thing that Roy has to get right? What's the one thing he needs to do in those next 3 games? I'll give you a moment to think. I'll just read out a few of these social media messages. As always, it's your show. Keep them coming. Hashtag PL Tonight is the hashtag to use. HLTCO says, we used to pride ourselves on our team spirit, but I would imagine it's almost impossible to keep that when the manager changes so often. James says, Palace hired de Boer to move away from antiquated football, then replace him with a walking antique. Parish is burying his own club. Daniel, I've never felt so disheartened watching Palace. We must be the easiest team to play against, devoid of ideas, destined for the drop. Chris, this was supposed to be our easy start. We are now in dire trouble. Pete, I'm really worried for Roy. 3 more games like that and he'll be out of a job too. Joseph, the result seems to indicate what we all knew all along. Replacing talented managers with other managers doesn't buy better players. Brilliant point. And finally, Arthur, if Roy is the answer, what on earth was the question? It's difficult to feel sorry for Crystal Palace. Well, look, Roy is the answer. So what is the one thing that you want to, or that he needs to do over these next 3 games? Just to reiterate, City, United and Chelsea.
Apart from score.
They need to score at some point, don't they?
No, look, he's got to get the squad on board. Get on the training pitch, get some confidence into this side, get them together. So the only way you get out of these tough situations is being out there, being in it together, and digging yourself out of the hole.
Yeah, they've got to get organised, haven't they? The fixtures dictate to how they're going to have to play. Those fixtures coming up, they're not going to play open football.
No.
They're going to have to defend, like I said, 2 banks of 4, get all his ideas across, and his staff, and really set the tone out and see if they can get by hook or by crook a point. Get a point on the board. Yeah. Swansea got a point today by doing exactly that, and now that's something you can just build on.
Dean?
Pattern of play when you got the ball, and a pattern of play when you haven't got the ball. So where's the ball going next? So we've got an advantage. So they all play in the same, they're all on the same page. And defensively, how are we going to defend? Are we going to sit deep? Are we going to press? But everybody's got to get on page 1. You can't have 1 on page 1, 5 of them on page 2.
I'm trying to think of one positive thing about the situation Crystal Palace are in, but I don't think there is there?
I can't think of one right
It's a
now.
mess.
No, it is a bit of a shambles right
What are the
now.
players thinking?
Oh, well, what are they thinking?
Problem, yeah.
Well, for example, Zaha, winger. He's playing 5-a-side football. Alan Pardew's the manager. Sam Allardyce comes in and tells him, put the ball in the space, and you 2 run after it. If you don't run after it, I'll take you off. He finds it hard to get Zaha to do that because he's putting balls into spaces, not playing to feet. De Boer comes in and then tells the fullbacks, don't be putting the ball up there. Start playing it into midfield. Do not give the ball away, kicking it up the channel.
Impossible.
Now Roy's come in, and Roy's going to have to decide, does he go the Sam Allardyce route or does he go the Ronald de Boer route? Because the players are just all over the place.
Is there a football in Priory?
Is there what?
A football in Priory? They're going to be so confused.
We should all check in, shouldn't we? I mean, it's a mad
players will
situation.
check in,
A mad
yeah.
situation. OK, I'm afraid it doesn't get too much more positive now because we're going to carry on talking a little bit about Spurs. Obviously, nothing like the same situation as Crystal Palace, but frustration today for Maurizio Pochettino, and he's now emerged from the Spurs dressing room and is with Des.
There were a couple of contentious penalty calls. A handball by Olsen. Also, Aurier near the end looked like his heels were clipped.
Yeah, it was so strange, the decision of Mike. I never liked to speak about the referee, but it's true. If you didn't see, if you are not sure about the decision, it's better not take the decision, because I was watching just now the three action from the channel, but I think it's strange to try to justify handball to Aurier when it was chest. If you didn't see, you say, okay, I believe that this handball, okay, foul, and no problem. But no, try to justify wasn't handball, when you say no, was handball, no, in the middle of the pitch. That is so strange. From the referee, you cannot justify the decision. The decision are the decision. Agree or not agree, always full respect to the referee.
Thank you, Maurizio.
You're welcome.
It's important, you know, that Maurizio, in his own head, doesn't just blame the referee for today's result, isn't it? He has to look at the reasons for Spurs' failure to break down this Swansea team.
Yeah, most definitely. He'll look at the bigger picture. But, you know, they're the decisions that should have gone his way, and that changes the game. And we're sitting here saying about, you know, 2 back-to-back wins here at Wembley, and now we're saying they haven't, you know, they've only got another point out of the game. It's a big decision. He kept his head there. Yeah. He kept his head. But he'll be looking at the bigger picture, yeah.
You know how he feels there. I know how he feels.
Yeah.
You forgot about all the missed chances, you forgot all the bad passes. All you can think about is the referee has cost us the game.
OK, and a message that's come in from Big SWB on social media. Harry Kane hits the bar with an open goal. Dele headers the ball into no man's land when he has a clear chance. But yes, all Mike Dean's fault, of course. Interesting. Right, and keep your thoughts coming in, actually. After the break, Jermaine and I will be reading out your 3-word match reports. Just explain to us who you support, the 3 words that sum up your team's performance today. Plenty more to come. We'll also have a look at the goals from Friday Night Football. See you in a second. From us, 3-word match reports. Try and guess who Ryan supports. Champions League qualification.
Spurs.
Newcastle. And they just put in brackets now. He just said in brackets, getting carried away. Right. What have you got?
I've got one for you that I'm sure you're going to get right. Still can't defend.
Liverpool?
Liverpool. Got to be Liverpool.
Yeah, that was Steve Owen on Twitter.
Ryan also says, same old Liverpool. OK, what about Joshua? Who's his team? Scared, boring, dreadful.
Palace?
West Brom.
Oh. Yeah.
Good guess.
Yeah. We've got Nick here saying, get Parish out, which is slightly harsh. We've got Matt Pratt, dull, and the hashtag is actually Pulis is shocking.
And they've been West Brom with their starts of the season.
When Tony Pulis took over at West Brom, they were in desperate trouble. If he'd have walked on the pitch with a mic when the crowd was full and said, hands up, if I keep you up, it doesn't matter how we play. They were all put their hand up.
Yeah.
The minute you start getting a few results, we're not playing like Barcelona. Tony Pulis keeps West Brom in the league.
You did that at Norwich, didn't you?
What, walked out on the pitch?
You held your hand up.
Moving on, because it's Premier League tonight, unfortunately. Which is why Norwich never gets a mention anymore. It was a good game last night, Friday night's football. It was Bournemouth picking up what was a vital win for them up against Brighton. It looked good, didn't it, for Brighton for a time, with the goal from Solly March, but they just couldn't capitalise on the fact that they took the lead, and then it was some interesting play from Jordan Ibe. No assists in the whole of last season, 2 assists last night. A lovely touch there and a brilliant finish from another former Norwich player, would you believe, Andrew Sermon. And then it was Jermaine Defoe with the crucial goal, making it 2-1, doing what he does so often. Crucial, wasn't it? Crucial for them last night.
He was, and you know what? Jermaine didn't have a kick all game, but this is what he's there for. Bang. Big moment, one chance, bang, back in.
It looks so simple. I mean, like, you are one of the most beautiful footballers to watch, Glenn. That looks so simple, but you sit there going, look at that. Why is that so lovely for you?
Just to let it run across his body. He didn't have hardly a kick. I watched the first half of that game and I felt sorry for him. He was running it. But you know, give him one chance. I am so surprised that one of the top 6 teams in this country haven't took him and got him back in here.
Give him chances. Put off by his age.
He'll put the ball in the net.
If he played for Man United this season up front, how many goals do you think he'd get?
You got to play first and foremost.
Well, no, coming
that's the problem.
Well, if he's playing...
No, if he plays, how many goals do you think he'd get?
20? 17 goals?
No,
He's free transfer. He was a free transfer.
Coming on from the bench.
And we all agree he'd get goals.
It can only be his age, right?
I don't know
He
what it
looks
is.
sharper now than when I played with him.
He's a fit lad.
does,
Some people, you know, they run out of steam at 33. This fella, he
He's
keeps
getting quicker.
himself fit, and he only needs one chance in a game. If he was at United or Arsenal or something, and he's coming on for half hour every game, he would get 4 or 5 of them sort of chances.
What a signing for Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Amazing.
There's
amazing.
3 points he's got him.
There you go. And not for the last time, I would imagine. Right, let's bring it back to today then. Let's talk Manchester City. This is Paul Bent. He's a City fan.
It's a game over here. What a fantastic performance from City. That's probably one of the best I've seen in my lifetime. The football is absolutely immense. It's total football at times. It's 1 touch, 2 touch. Everybody knows the positions, pass and move. It's absolutely fantastic to watch. Special mention for De Bruyne. He seems to orchestrate everything in that midfield at the moment. Pass, assist, everything is absolutely brilliant from him. Unfortunately, he didn't get a goal today. He was substituted after about 60-65 minutes. But he's in the form of his life, and at the moment, he's probably the best player in the Premier League.
And the position De Bruyne is playing in now is working so well for him, isn't it? I mean, he ran back 50 yards today to snuff out an attack for Watford. He was unplayable against Feyenoord in midweek, and he is now becoming the beating heart of that City team.
Yeah, they've got options on the ball, which is like no other club have got in this country, probably maybe in Europe. Going forward, the question mark is when they play against a better team and they've got to defend properly. Liverpool got in on numerous occasions in the first 20 minutes last week, but going forward, they are so exciting. You can see that fan there. He's just loving everything.
They didn't concede against Liverpool. I mean, they've now played 3 games this week, scored 15 goals, not conceded 1. I mean, they're scary good. And, you know, Watford have not been in bad form. Marcus Silva's turned that club round.
Exactly that. You know, I thought today was going to be a tough game for them, in all honesty. You know, special mentions, obviously, to De Bruyne and obviously David Silva playing in that midfield area we mentioned there from the fan. De Bruyne, I felt that since Pep Guardiola has arrived, you know, he's excelled anyway. He had a little bit of a dry spell towards the end of last year, but I think that midfield position really suits him.
And you can see there just how important they are with Kevin De Bruyne. But it's not only Kevin that's making a difference for them. You know, so often now teams are playing with one up front, aren't they? But they've got a proper partnership going on now between Jesus and Aguero. Aguero's got 9 goals this season. Gabriel Jesus has got 7. So, you know, partnerships can still work. They're alive.
I think that's why he's gone up a level in his game, because as a creative player and a player that looks forward, his first thought isn't to look square or back. He looks forward. He looks, can I hurt the opponent with a pass?
De Bruyne, you're talking?
Yeah, De Bruyne.
Yeah.
Now he's got 2 strikers that have got fantastic movement. Happy days for him, and it's just elevated him as a player.
And speed of thought.
Yeah.
Aguero's speed of thought.
quick.
I think he's the best striker in the league, and he gets left out.
Yeah.
Some games.
We've got some messages actually for their partnership. Henrietta says Aguero and Jesus is something else. The envy of many teams. As a football purist, it's good to see 2 up front. What does Dean make of it? I imagine you love it.
Well, you've seen what happened today when Son went up with Harry Kane. Once you get a partner alongside you, it distracts defenders and you can get in, you can link with each other. You've got someone next to you.
Blajovic says Guardiola was smart to go out of his way to try and get both Aguero and Jesus on the pitch. So much end product. They're the new Suarez and Sturridge. Aguero and Jesus, one of the best Premier League combos I've ever seen. Guardiola showing why he only needed a season to dominate the Premier League. It's early days, but who knows. Back to Kevin De Bruyne. Leo says Kevin De Bruyne is levels ahead of anyone on the pitch right now. He's the complete player. Kevin De Bruyne is easily in the world's top 5 players, says Jay. Would you agree with that? On current form, I mean... We'll have to see how he does this season in the
Well,
Champions
this is the toughest league in the world, isn't it? We agree that. This is the toughest league, and he's...
Toughest one, yeah.
And he's doing it in this league.
Lewis says, call me biased or whatever, but De Bruyne is by far the best player in the league. How much would JJ love to play with him?
It'd be a dream, yeah.
You'd make him look good, wouldn't you?
You'd make me look good.
Matthew says Aguero, De Bruyne and David Silva look insanely good at the moment. And thank you, Matt Lockley. He says it takes a while to see, but Pep has improved every player. Sterling, Aguero, De Bruyne, Stones, Otamendi, Silva, more to come. So only a few weeks ago, people were moaning that Pep just goes and buys expensive players.
I think, just to put a little bit of a damper on it, I love the way they play going forward, but everyone thought they'd won the league after 10 games last year, if you remember.
Yeah.
Everyone was saying, oh, no one can stop City, and look what happened. They're going to be challenged to defend better, and I can see if they don't, you know, get it right, the balance right defensively, then they're going to be asked some questions, and that's the key moment when they're playing the top teams in Europe and the top teams in the Premier League.
And the Liverpool result hasn't changed your thinking because
No,
Liverpool
because
were a man down? Or
man down, 10 men. Before that...
But they still smashed them, right?
No, but before that, Liverpool got in on 3 or 4 occasions quite easily without doing too much. And that's just the Achilles heel. If they put that right, then, my word, I think they'll romp the league. I think they'll get it anyway.
Salah's down that right-hand side against Otamendi, and before Mane got sent off, they found a weakness.
No team's perfect, though, are they?
No, like the manager's learning himself as he's going along. Some teams won't let you play out from the back.
Should we talk Newcastle?
Yeah.
Another win for them today. Let's hear from Lee. He's a Newcastle fan.
So Newcastle are climbing the league. 3 wins from 3. Delighted. Everybody's delighted. Oh man, well, you know, the start of the season, 2 defeats from 2, and then we've got 3 wins from 3. And look where we are on the table. I know it's early days, and Newcastle fans are absolutely delighted. The change, oh man, what a performance by Jamal Lascelles again. He's come on leaps and bounds and continues that performance. England code's going to be reckoning. You know, 2 defeats from 2 at the beginning of the season. I mentioned Rafa Benitez. Let's turn things around. There's a spirit, there's a togetherness amongst the club. You know, we didn't get anybody in the door, but you can see that togetherness, the pride. Oh man, they're absolutely delighted. Giddy in.
Yeah, the main thing is that the togetherness and the work rate, the character, the whole team, the connection with the fans, because the fans, they appreciate that. I think I put in the program notes that this is something really important. Players that want to stay, want to fight, want to defend the black and white shirt. So, and they are doing that. And that is really, I think the fans, they appreciate that. And for us to do this every week, and the captain leading by example, is something that you have to be really pleased.
And you do have to be. I mean, Jamal Lascelles, we made captain of a club like Newcastle. You know the amount of pressure that comes with playing there and captaining that football club. 22, and he does look brilliant, doesn't he?
He does. I know Jamal as well from his time at Forest, and you know, he was hungry then, and he had the right appetite. He's got the right mentality, you know, for the job at hand. I felt that last year in winning the league, he was instrumental, and I think he's one of those players that the rest of the team, they really look up to and kind of know that they can lean on him in times of need. And his last 2 performances have just been sensational. Not only, you know, from a defensive point of view, but to get 2 winners, you know, from centre half. I mean, you don't lead by example any more than that as a centre-half. So I think he's he's had a really good couple of games, and things are looking good for Newcastle.
Lee got in touch on social media and said, crisis? What crisis? I mean, it's only a few weeks ago that it felt like a crisis at Newcastle. Meanwhile, Richard says, we have Rafa Benitez, 4th in the Premier League. They were 4th before the late kick-off. What a time to be alive. How much credit for what's happening there goes to the manager?
Oh, very much so. Yeah. But I think what he's done, he's got a good dressing room. I think there's been a question mark about the dressing room in there. He's got a young captain there who's leading by example, but having good pros in there now. I think they went through a few years where it was a little bit disruptive behind the scenes. That's very difficult for any manager if you've got that disruption. But I think they're all on the same wavelength. They've got that passion up there, and they're living off that passion of that crowd. And there was a time when I think they went out on the pitch there a little bit apprehensive. Now they can't wait to play in front of that crowd. And when you play like that as a footballer in a team, that's the formula and the chemistry you want.
As a manager, is it almost not more frustrating for Rafa Benitez that he made all those pointed comments in the press to say, I need more players, I need more investment, I need more help from the owners? They bought 1 player, Murphy from Norwich, worth more than £10 million this summer. As great as the last 3 results have been, is he not sitting there thinking, imagine what I could do if they'd have actually let me buy the players I wanted? It almost increases that sense of frustration, doesn't it, for him?
Well, knowing him, and he's not happy finishing off at the league, he'll be thinking now, I hope they don't think that's me done and that we've got enough.
Yeah.
We still need players. We're not papering over the cracks at the minute. But 3 wins out of 5 games, you're 4th in the league. Why couldn't Crystal Palace have done that? They only had to win. They sacked the manager.
Yeah. As a manager, is he going to the board now and already saying to them, listen, guys, don't think that this is all good. We're pulling out some amazing results and the guys are doing brilliantly well, but we need to invest. Just keeping that message.
I think he'd have done that as soon as the window shut, even before this nice little run that they're in. He'd have been saying, hey, whatever happens, don't think I'm satisfied with this. These are the players I want, and go and build this squad.
Yeah, look, he's not overly happy about the situation, but Mike Ashley's been pretty clear. You know, I think they heavily invested last year when they was in the Championship, and he's been clear in saying, look, I will reinvest any money that comes into the club. So, yeah.
Do you think that's what he's been told? Or do you think he said to him, look, when we get in the Premiership, we'll have a go for it? Well, I don't know what, he doesn't seem happy.
I think the fact that he was unhappy tells me that he was probably told, we'll have a go. But, you know, obviously circumstances change in business, and, you know, as it stands, he's doing a fantastic job with what he's got and giving himself a great argument in January to say, listen, give me a bit more.
We've both been there. It's what a club when you're winning.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't play for a better club when you're winning.
Amazing. And the final, I think the tweet of the day actually goes to NUFC Banter. Premier League goals this season: David Silva, Hazard, Coutinho, Ozil, Sanchez, Mata, Mahrez, none. Jamal Lascelles, 2. Great. After the break, there will be some more three-word match reports, and also we're going to be talking about playing home, playing away. We've seen once again, haven't we, here at Wembley today, just how difficult it is for a club to change grounds. We'll be talking about your club's old grounds after the break. Stay where you are, and don't forget live boxing on its way at 8:30 this evening. Stay on the sofa. See you in a sec. Welcome back. You're watching Premier League tonight. Live boxing follows in about 15 minutes' time. In a moment, we're also going to be talking about what you miss about your club's old ground. If you want to join in the conversation while we're chatting, just use hashtag PL Tonight. Any three-word match reports rolling in?
Yes. Twitter name is Follow the Bear, actually. But
love that.
Bring back Rafa. Another unhappy Liverpool fan by the looks of it.
Follow the beer?
Follow the beer.
That's what you're doing in about 10 minutes in the Royal Box, aren't you?
Yeah.
Every time we do a game here, Glenn's like, straight over there.
What about this one?
Catch up with the boys.
Invite us, though.
Just catch up with the boys.
What about this one here, anyway? Lingham, I think it says, sorry.
Yeah.
Drop Dele Alli.
Based on?
I mean, this is ludicrous.
You can't be a Spurs fan.
I was that shocked. It says hashtag TFC. Yeah. What else we got? Nick Laverick, City, complete total football. So
complete total football is the three-word match report. Manchester City fan. OK, right. Let's talk then about things you miss about your old ground. We'll hear from the guys in a second, but first, as always, we like to hear from you.
White Hart Lane was an absolute fortress for us. The atmosphere was absolutely incredible, especially during big London derbies, big European nights, games like that.
Well, going to Highbury, I always felt like I was among friends and family, being looked after by the Arsenal family. Going to the Emirates, I feel like I'm a customer being served at a sporting outlet.
It took a very long time to get the atmosphere built up at the King Power Stadium. The Premier League win obviously helped with that, and European nights too of last season. But I, along with many other Leicester fans, would probably take Filbert Street back at the drop of a hat.
It felt different because everyone is angry just at the team, more often than not. Now you're angry at the stadium, you're angry at the match day experience, you're angry that everything's different, you don't know the same people that you can moan to. You walk out and instead of having Queen's Market and the Boleyn pub, you've got like a helter-skelter thing over there and a sort of weird swamp down there you can't see. Obviously it feels like it affects the team quite a lot, but that's not going to be an issue this year because we've got a 100% home record and that's not changing.
Very good. That tickled us in here. It is horrible, though, for the fans when you don't feel a connection to your ground, isn't it? It just doesn't feel the same going to football.
It might be my fault, you know. I've just been thinking.
Go on.
I started at Swansea, the Vetchfield's gone.
Gone.
I went to Brighton, the Goldstone ground's gone. I went to Oxford, the Manor ground's gone.
Yeah.
I went to Derby, the baseball ground's gone. I bankrupt all of them.
Or you're just old.
Been around the block.
That makes the highlights.
Or I paid for the new stadium.
Yeah. There you go. And Benfica, you played it?
Yeah, that's gone.
Galatasaray?
That's gone. Villa Park's still there, Anfield's still there.
Perfect. They've got to be careful, though, Tottenham, haven't they? Because you almost sense that whatever they do with the redevelopment of White Hart Lane, and it's not, of course, like West Ham, because West Ham have completely moved to somewhere built for athletics.
Yeah.
It's still not going to be the same for a while.
For a while, yeah, maybe, but it is on the same plot. It's been half of the old White Hart Lane is going to be a part of the stadium, so it's there. It's familiar, you know. The fans will know it's the same trip to go to the stadium. It's they've got to get the environment on the pitch and everything. I think coming to Wembley has just been bad timing. It's just they've done what they've done the last couple of seasons. They've got a really great squad now, strong squad. Coming here is different for them. There's no doubt about it. You've got to say that it's a bigger pitch. The environment is not the same. The atmosphere is not the same here. And it's just unfortunate for Tottenham at this moment in time that the move has happened when it's happened.
Glenn, can you remember that goal he scored against Oxford at White Hart Lane?
That was my last game.
The pitch.
My last goal.
Went round Peter Rucker.
Yeah.
I was playing.
You played in that game.
Yeah. Scored a tap in. Never gets mentioned.
No
you
surprise.
told me about 3 times since you've been in it.
Yeah.
It's like a one-man PR machine. I love it. I suppose it is difficult, though, for players when you move grounds and stuff. I remember Thierry Henry talking about life at Highbury, and he used to talk about, didn't he, when he got the ball, his peripheral vision with his back to goal, he sort of knew whereabouts he was in the stadium and so therefore on the pitch because of where he was. Then, of course, they moved to the Emirates and it was completely different and he felt lost.
The thing is, the pitches have just got bigger. That's why. And Highbury, especially more than any, it was like a five-a-side pitch at times.
Yeah.
It was so compact and so... just everything was on top of you. So you can understand where he was coming from. Then to go to the Emirates and all of a sudden the stadium and everything's so much more vast. But, you know, being Thierry Henry, didn't find it too hard to make the transition in the end, did he?
Hard for him isn't like hard for other people, is it?
No.
When you guys come to stadiums like this, do you walk in and think, that is beautiful, that is fantastic? Or do you miss the sort of the atmosphere and exactly what Jermaine was talking about, the hostility of those old grounds?
Well, the hostility's there on those grounds. You know, I think now White Hart Lane's been brought down. There's only Goodison, really, that you think is back in the old, you know, like an old-fashioned, great atmospheres you get there. You did it at the Lane. They haven't got that here at Wembley, and I'm not sure they're going to get it. But then look at the opponents coming to Wembley. I think it's a massive lift to any team. Any player that hasn't played at Wembley is looking... I don't care what the results have been beforehand, how well we're playing or how not. I'm playing at Wembley today, and that's going to give you a lift, and Spurs have got to match that.
Well, I spoke to Sam Clucas before the kick-off.
Right.
And I said, you're going to have a tough game today. He goes, yeah, nice pitch, but great stadium, innit? So they all must think like that.
But let's just go off on a very brief tangent. You said that when you had Sam, you played him up front.
Yeah.
Was that because that's what you decided to do, or he came through as a striker? Or I mean, I know you've both worked with him.
There. Glenn had him as well, but he played up front. Paul Cook was manager before I got there. Played him up front, and if he'd score, and then he put him at left back. He was that good at left back. He could play left back, left side midfield, up front. He's even played centre back in a few games. But today he just sacrificed himself.
He played in all that position right the way down the left, and he played up front for us in Secunda B in Spain when we took over and the academy played in there. He was wonderful.
What was he like when you ended up working with him? Because that wasn't the highlight of his career, was it? That was a tough time.
Of course not. It was about his development. He came out and he'd been released from Lincoln, and he felt that that he was unjust. He felt that he could make it, and he had a desire about him that was incredible in his work ethic. He worked. He took everything in. That's what I liked about Sam. Sometimes even pros that you worked, top pros, you can tell them things and they forget at the moment of truth, which is needed out on the pitch. Sam was somebody that actually could take in information, then go out and do it on the pitch, which is the vital thing.
That was a proper tangent, but we're good at going off on tangents on this show. Martin says, as a Saints fan, the Dell was so special. Tight, compact and amazing atmosphere. Helen, sitting on the wall at the front of the main stand enclosure and being so close to the players at Filbert Street was something else. Thanks for your message, Chris. Character and atmosphere. He's a Leicester fan, so obviously talking about Filbert Street as well. Joe Ashley, being so close to the pitch, I'm now miles away. He's a hammer. Bill, who's a Spurs fan, says, everything. I want to wake up from this nightmare I'm in, and we're still at White Hart Lane, and this is all one horrible dream. Sean, I still miss being unbeaten at White Hart Lane. Spurs is our passion. What do I miss about our old ground? Winning games. Bring back White Hart Lane. Talking of old grounds, is there a place that you remember either going to where you had an interesting bit of interaction with the away fans or the home fans, or maybe those old dressing rooms? Go on, Glenn. What stood out for you?
West Ham Tottenham, I was corner taker as well. At the old Upton Park, go and take a corner there. I got grabbed in. I got pulled in one night. They nearly got me in there. So down at the chicken run, down in that corner there, that was.
Did it affect you? And affect your performance?
No, I didn't take any more corners after that.
Dean, what about you? Any old dressing rooms?
I can remember playing at the baseball ground and one of the fans beat me in the air. He was that close to the pitch. They were that close to the pitch. The track was about that wide.
Yeah.
So the grass stopped there, and then the track was that wide, and then you're in the front row. Yeah. And one of the fans had got over the side of the pitch, and the ball was hanging right diagonal out to me. I love that. And the fan came out of the crowd and challenged me, beat me in the air. Got ushered out the crowd.
Here. I mean, there's now
for life.
There's like a little tractor. They call them a gator. I mean, there's a gator driving alongside the pitch there. There's these huge fans. I mean, they're yards away, aren't they?
They are.
Being young, you probably don't remember all these old grounds, do you?
I don't, mate, no, unfortunately. But there was one ground, Highbury, for example. I remember when I was a kid, they had this, I thought it was a myth, that they had a heated kind of floor in the dressing room. But they actually did. You had a night, as soon as you come out of the shower, nice heated floor when you come out. You were like, ooh.
What about away dressing rooms? Because the trick then was make it cold or make it swelteringly hot, cold water. Where was the worst to go?
The best was when Becky was at Cambridge.
John Beck, yeah.
John Beck was at Cambridge. It was freezing cold. There was dust everywhere. There was balls that were like 100 years old. It was incredible what he did. Yeah.
When you said the best,
freezing cold showers.
Plough Lane. Wimbledon. The dressing room was this big.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
16 of you in here.
Brilliant. OK, right, let's just let you know what else is coming your way on BT Sport. Of course, we're not done for this evening. Live boxing follows in just a moment. However, next Saturday we're back from 2:30 with BT Sport Score. Loads of people talking about that show and watching it at the moment. And that's followed by Leicester up against Liverpool. That's our game for you next Saturday. And then we're back to our usual timetable of Premier League tonight, live between 8 and 9 in the evening. Thanks ever so much for joining us for tonight's show as well. But of course, as you can see, up next, BT Sport Fight Night Live. Dempo has the details.
Billy Joe Saunders is back tonight and top of the bill live here on BT Sport, defending his WBO World Middleweight title against Willie Monroe Jr. of the United States. And the stakes could not be higher now for Saunders. If he can win and win well, he could be in line for a shot at the winner of tonight's super fight in Las Vegas between Gennady Golovkin and Saul Alvarez. Can Saunders do it? Join us shortly to find out.
Big night for Billy Joe Saunders, as we saw in the build-up. His son's got a decent right hook as well. Three-word match report. You can give us one for Swansea.
Defended brilliantly.
Oh. That's the Martin Keown effect. We'll edit that out, shall we? Yeah. It's not like it's live or anything.
Got a result.
That's all. Yeah, nice one. For Spurs?
Very disappointing day.
Ditto.
That's only one word. It's harder than it seems.
Ditto.
Thanks very much for joining us. Thank you as well for being part of the fun. Live boxing is next. See you next Saturday. Bye-bye.
Oh my God, it is finished at Anfield. Burnley won, Liverpool won. I really don't know how we did that.
At some point, Liverpool have got to find their way this season. Feels like this week they've lost the way quite a bit.
5 games, no points, no goals. It's not looking great.
Brilliant, 1-0 and a goal, thank God.
Watford 0, Manchester City 6. Serves me right for feeling cautiously optimistic before today's game.
What a fantastic performance from City. That's probably one of the best I've seen in my lifetime.